Friends, in the second video, we're going to be looking at how to confront. In other words, confronting without being confrontational. So the first one we will look at is the issues of the heart and how we deal with ourselves before we get to the meeting itself. And then in the second video, we will deal with the meeting face to face with the one that we're confronting. Well, friends, this is the second in the series of criticism and confrontation. And what we're looking at here is examining ourselves, confronting without being confrontational. So in this first one, there's two parts to this. The one is looking at ourselves, and the second one would be dealing with the meeting itself, meeting with the person. So what we need to be doing is looking for harmony and an amicable conclusion to the disagreement. That must be the heart. Surely that must be the heart. We're looking for harmony and an amicable conclusion to any disagreement we may be having. So much depends on the circumstances of the confrontation. Not everything is exactly the same, but there are many principles that we will apply here that can be applied in every situation as well. But there are two main parts to the confrontation. The first one is yourself, and that's what we're going to examine now. And then the second one is the strategy of the meeting itself, just meeting with the person. So let's have a look at the prelude to the meeting. In other words, what we're doing is we recognize we've got to go into this thing. We've got to deal with an issue of confrontation. How are we going to do it? So the first point is that 80% of the success of you confronting the issues will be your attitude, your heart, your sincerity, your voice, tonal, your body language, and the amount of emotion you project. Let's go through those quickly. Attitude of your heart, your sincerity to seek resolution, your voice, whether you raise it and get angry and hot or keep it calm, the body language, is it aggressive or demeaning, or is it just placid, and the amount of emotion that you protect. So how you approach the confrontation in the first few minutes likely determine how it unfolds. It also reveals your personal maturity level. If you can't deal with these things properly, well then actually it is a you issue. Your attitude will reflect on you, and it will set the tone for your meeting. So be respectful. Go out of this thing to try to find resolution to it and harmony between you. Secondly, your character. How attractive are you in dealing with this? How attractive is your character throughout the debate? Are you showing dignity and respect? Do you project their view that their view is important for you, to understand that you want to listen? You're not going to talk over them all of the time. Remember, friends, that love covers a multitude of sins. And if they sense that you're seeking for their destruction or their harm, or only to win an argument, you're not going to gain any ground. These are such important things. Number 3, never attempt to resolve confrontation through text, phone calls, or voice notes. Never. You cannot do this over a phone or voice notes. There has to be a person-to-person meeting. There's great value in that. Your venue is also important. Ensure that it's conducive to open discussion. But it needs to be on one-on-one. So where you can see each other's expressions, you can feel their heart, you can see them listening to you. Those things are important. Number 4, your intentions will determine your actions. Your heart must surely be to determine truth and to seek either correction or reconciliation or redemption. So you're looking to make the situation right, but to reconcile and to redeem the situation. And if you've got to disagree, then disagree agreeably. Just say, well, we can't agree on this thing. We don't want hostility to be between us. Let's walk away from this thing and agree to disagree. Number 5, what often happens in a disagreement is that we begin to attack the personality of a person, another person. So never undermine another person's dignity. Name-calling, accusations, and presumptions about another person should be below all of us. And that's another thing. We must be very careful that we're not always reading between the lines. We mustn't try to say, well, I think you were saying this. We need to clarify that. So what are you actually saying here? Never try to read between the lines. Presume that you know what they're saying if you don't really. Try to seek out the truth. Number 6, if you're going into the battle to surely win, then you're not looking for solutions. You're actually looking for a scalp. Rather take up karate or boxing and seek to negotiate through diplomacy rather than through brutal decapitation. Number 7, it's wise to determine if this is a pattern or an event. There's more grace for an event than there is for a pattern. Patterns cannot really be excused away and they need to be dealt with slightly differently. If somebody has a pattern of criticism and a fault finding and all of those things, then that's going to have to be dealt with slightly differently. Number 8, the issues of the heart clearly give evidence of your Christian maturity. Now remember, I spoke last time about the R&R principle, the reaction and response. And we need to have a godly response. Lord, what do you want me to say? What words must I use? How do I connect with this person? And so the time delay between the reaction and the response really is a measure of your Christian maturity. Number 9, there's no harm in agreeing to disagree. We've touched on that on some issues. Forgiveness can often play a major role in handling conflict. Once you hold another person in the bond of unforgiveness, you bind yourself and you will not get resolution. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Number 10, your heart and your visible actions. They either qualify your views or discredit your case. Your heart and your visible actions either qualify your views or discredit your case. If you throw your toys out of the cot and become a schismatic and complaining all of a sudden, then you fail in your argument. Number 11, before the confrontation, there are 2 things that you must do. Firstly, prepare your heart. And secondly, pray for your adversary. And don't pray that their teeth be broken. You pray for them, that they would hear, that their hearts would be softened, that you would be able to come to an agreement. Number 12, what do you seek to do? You want truth and justice to prevail? Where there's division, you must also want reconciliation and restoration. You can see it demands incredible maturity from your side. When it is a case of discipline, you want them to know that you're seeking the very best for them, while still holding them accountable for their actions or words. Number 13, people very quickly read your heart and emotions and intentions. Friends, deal with your heart. Deal with your tonal response. Deal with your attitude. Deal with your body language. It's got to be one seeking resolution, seeking restoration. I want to understand. I want to know what you're actually saying here and see whether you can come to some resolution. Number 14, name calling, accusations and statements like you always or you never or you did are destructive and will negatively impact every case. We're going to talk about that in the next session. But what words do we use? How do we strategize in a meeting like this? But you can't use you always, you never, you did. They're very destructive. Number 15, if possible, avoid approaching a difficult confrontation whilst you're tired, angry, or hungry. Those are obvious. Number 16, always maintain the other side's dignity. Keep harping on this in different ways. Are you looking for resolution or another scalp to hang on your belt? If anyone gets angry, they're not listening and the opportunity is lost. Number 17, an important maxim, and I mentioned this last time too, is that everything is not as it seems. So don't presume that you know everything. Listen for what you don't know. You likely don't have all of the facts. So attempt to understand their views and their actions. Number 18, Daddy Daniel has written a good book called Choosing Your Battles. It's available free as a PDF on the NCMI website, New Covenant Ministries International. I suggest you read it. It's very helpful, that. And there he suggests that we're not called to fight every battle or to even win them or to respond to every issue. We're also not to pick up battles that others need to fight themselves. And Matthew 18 gives us good guidance in that. And then finally, number 19, Where relevant, attempt a first response that everyone is doing their best. You assume that they're wanting to do their best as well, and not to presume the worst of people. Doing your best when the house is on fire looks very different from doing your best when all is going well. A critical heart is not a helpful starting point. So in the previous one, when we looked at criticism, which is closely related to this one we'll be looking at the issues of the heart. And it really does speak about our maturity and how we deal with things. So again, I trust this has been informative. There's much to work on in my own life, and I suggest in yours as well, because these things do tend to dig deep in us. They bleed us, they make us bleed, and they injure us, and we have scars. But what we've got to do is deal with it God's way, and we find that we have resolution, and then we have healing for ourselves as well. God bless you, dear friends.